Lack of affordable housing in rural areas blights lives. Lack of cash is a limiting factor. Lack of sleep can lead to serious health problems. Lack of experience makes this job difficult for beginners. Lack of water can cause dehydration. Lack of communication often leads to misunderstandings. Lack of confidence prevents many people from achieving their goals. Lack of funding forced the company to shut down. Lack of motivation can hinder personal growth. Lack of discipline leads to poor academic performance. Lack of medical care is a serious issue in some countries. Lack of planning often results in failure. Lack of resources limits economic growth. Lack of leadership weakens a team's performance. Lack of trust can damage relationships. Lack of safety measures can lead to accidents. Lack of education is a major barrier to success. Lack of exercise contributes to weight gain. Lack of awareness about the issue makes it worse. Lack of innovation makes a company fall behind. Lack of patience often leads to frustration. Lack of respect creates conflicts in relationships. Lack of customer service affects a company's reputation. Lack of teamwork weakens group efficiency. Lack of proper guidance can lead to bad decisions. Lack of public transportation makes commuting difficult. Lack of financial stability causes stress. Lack of medical supplies affects patient care. Lack of skilled workers slows down production. Lack of transparency in government leads to corruption. Lack of emotional support can lead to loneliness. Lack of internet access limits educational opportunities. Lack of sanitation increases the risk of disease. Lack of creativity results in boring content. Lack of customer feedback makes it hard to improve services. Lack of investment in infrastructure affects the economy. Lack of proper training leads to workplace errors. Lack of sleep reduces productivity. Lack of fresh air can cause dizziness. Lack of social interaction affects mental health. Lack of cultural awareness can lead to misunderstandings. Lack of healthy food choices contributes to obesity. Lack of flexibility in work schedules affects work-life balance. Lack of respect for nature leads to environmental destruction. Lack of entertainment options makes small towns boring. Lack of emergency preparedness can be dangerous. Lack of public awareness delays policy changes. Lack of love and care affects a child's development. Lack of proper documentation causes legal issues. Lack of space in cities leads to overcrowding. Lack of enthusiasm makes work feel like a burden. Lack of direction in life can make people feel lost. Lack of chicken feed means that chicken farms are having to slaughter their stock. Lack of common sense is shown in. Lack of communication causes relationships to fail. Your parents' marriage is a case in point. Lack of confidence is a psychological barrier to success. Lack of daylight can make people feel depressed. Lack of discipline came in the way of his success. Lack of documentation is a major issue as well. Lack of education is a bar to success. Lack of education was their way to control power. Lack of exercise and bad posture can cause stiffness in our shoulders as well. Lack of exercise is a risk factor for heart disease. Lack of exercise is causing many people to gain coveted weight. Lack of exercise makes you feel lethargic. Lack of experience weighed against him at the interview. Lack of fear leads to shabby work. Lack of fertilizer had impoverished the soil. Lack of food and water provided much of the impulsion for their speed. Lack of food lowers productivity. Lack of funds halted the work. Lack of funds is blocking progress in the research. Lack of good communication between team members can be detrimental. Lack of guest operating system privileges. Lack of housing breaks up families, destroys lives, and ruins people's potential. Lack of information is part of the problem. Lack of internal data center construction expertise. Lack of iron in your diet can make you anemic. Lack of knowing Chinese also often ruins marriages. Lack of light will stunt the plant's growth. Lack of marketing capabilities is that company's Achilles heel. Lack of modern equipment hinders efficient manufacturing. Lack of moisture. Lack of money inclines many people towards crime. Lack of money inclines many young people towards crime. Lack of money is the main problem, as I see it. Lack of money is the root of all evil. Lack of money will have an adverse effect on our research program. Lack of nutrition will stunt the plant's growth. Lack of peace anywhere in the world is bad for global growth everywhere. Lack of planning leads to wavering confidence. Lack of play space is a recurring problem. Lack of punishment seems to give youngsters license to break the law. Lack of rain is also harming soil fertility in Africa. Lack of recognition discouraged him from publishing more novels. Lack of resources has been a perennial problem. Lack of security remains a major problem and concern. Lack of self-discipline can often be an annoying thing. Lack of sleep also affects your school life, too. Lack of sleep also hinders the immune system. Lack of sleep can be harmful for one's health. Lack of sleep can negatively affect our daily lives. Lack of sleep can reduce immune functioning, making you susceptible to sickness. Lack of sleep gradually takes its toll on one's health. Lack of sleep gradually tells on the health. Lack of sleep had impaired her concentration. Lack of sleep increases your chances of falling asleep at the wheel. Lack of sleep increases your chances of falling asleep at the wheel. True. Lack of sleep makes workers less effective during the day. Lack of sleep? You just get used to it and learn to catnap. Lack of social support is a health risk factor like smoking. Lack of space forbids further treatment of the topic here. Lack of stress. Lack of supplies is the great hindrance to my experiment. Lack of time precludes any further discussion. Lack of time was blamed for his failure in the examination. Lack of time was the cause of his failure in the examination. Lack of time was the reason why he failed in the examination. Lack of traffic is one of the blessings of country life. Lack of training acts as a block to progress in a career. Lack of trust among people is rampant in our society. Lack of unanimity has proved a hindrance. Lack of vitamin B causes beriberi. Lack of vitamin D is another factor to consider. Lack of vitamin E can cause skin diseases. Lack of water will stunt the plant's growth. Lack of work is the main cause of deep poverty.